Tim Houk kindly offered to be with us today in this nice small group setting to talk about coming out of a shift. And Tim knows a little bit about it. He runs a team that just in the first quarter of this year did over $250,000 in GCI, which is darn impressive. That puts him in the top teams in all the country. So go ahead, Tim. Thrilled to have you here.
Yeah, man. Thank you all for having me. So I'm coming at you guys from Baton Rouge. I've been in the business for 14 years. I started a team in 2010. But, you know, I think that I built my business. My business really grew during the shift. And, you know, I don't know if I'm comfortable completely vetting that we're there now, right? But we're definitely going through some unique times. And I think we have to reanalyze everything that we're doing and kind of go back to what Gary always says, get back to the basics. When did we ever get permission to quit, right? And so, you know, so I started in 2006, and I really had growth in 2009, 10, 11, and all those years when the market was sliding. I was taking market share. We had 20 to 25% growth during those years. I am an investor in a market center. I own a property management company with another Keller Williams agent, and I own some investments, and that's my life. Married, 3 babies. I got 3 kids under 3. So what you won't find from me is excuses about why I can't get my job done. I'm at home working like the rest of us with challenges and kids. I'm currently at the office because my Wi-Fi was acting up. So, but yeah, man, happy to be here and looking forward to sharing with you guys.
Well, thanks so much, Tim. I think a lot of people here and who will watch the recording tonight, because we put these on our private YouTube page, okay, they have kids. And I hear you went to the office today, but how are you kind of managing that? How's that going for you?
So, you know, here's something pretty profound, and I respect time. And now that I have kids, I think that I have a deeper appreciation for time. And so I know it's easy to make excuses when you have kids, and it's tough. And yeah, we're going through all those same challenges. I have three kids at home. And but I've come to understand that time is so much more precious now that I have the kids, because I know that I need to get it done, not only for myself, but for them. But also I have to expedite how I'm doing things right now. And so what I know is this: if my morning ritual is interrupted, I'm not going to be my best self in the rest of the things that I have for the rest of the day. And it's easy to take that statement on the surface, but think about that. I have a normal morning ritual, and I'll tell you what it is. I'm a 4:45 or 5 o'clock wake up kind of guy. I read, I exercise, and on my calendar, it's there every day, and it says my time. And get ready for the day. I see my kids, and typically before this, I was out the door at 7:10. I dropped the kid off at school. I was at the office for 7:30. Kind of getting ready for the day, and I had a daily huddle with the team at 8:30, and I still get on the phones at 9 o'clock. And so right now, we're working through that unique time where, yes, we have distractions, but what's it all about, right? And I know that if my morning ritual is disrupted, then I'm not going to be my best self for the rest of the day. If I've got a 2 o'clock mastermind with some amazing people from New Orleans, if I don't have my stuff done, I'm not going to be my best version. And when I get home to be with my kids, I'm not going to be my best version. Yeah, I have to make some sacrifices and some changes, but it all starts with the mindset that I still need to do the most important things that I need to do. And I'm having to do more of them. So time truly is a commodity. And, I think about, and I have this, it's funny, we're talking about this right now, but I have this John Maxwell book. And, often it's like, I think about, there's a statement in there that says, to know the value of 1 year, ask the student who failed the final exam. And there's a list of these, right? And it gets down to know the value of 1 millisecond, ask the Olympic silver medalist. To every degree of what we're dealing with, time is truly a commodity. And you always hear people talk about, you know, how productive you are before you go on vacation. You get so much crammed in. And so right now I'm trying to take that approach with everything that I'm doing, and I need energy to do it. And so I do enjoy getting up early, and there are times when I don't, and I have to allow that frustration to go away and just know that I have to start doing the other things that are in line. And so really it just comes to start with the mindset that knowing I want to be the best version of myself every day. And the best way to do that is to make sure that we're honoring our time blocks. If you look at my calendar, it's very blocked. And when people come work at my organization, and I sit down with them, and I sit down at the beginning with everyone and go through the vision, the mission, the vision, our values, and I also spend some time just talking with them about their goals. And I tell them a statement, and everybody chuckles inevitably every single time they laugh. And I say, the hardest thing that you'll do here is manage your time, manage your calendar. And then they laugh, and then within 60 days, inevitably, they come back to me. They're like, "You're right. To get all this done, you have to start to be a steward of your time, other people's time, and it's never perfect, but we really just try our best to. I try my best to keep that honored, and because I know I can get the most done. Inevitably, if there's stuff that's not done at the end of the day, it's typically 80% stuff that's not going to make the hugest impact in my life. Either someone else can do it, or I can get to it later, or I just don't let it go away. I just move it to another place. And so always, if you're a race, you must a place, and all those old sayings, but they really hold true in my world. So just honoring that time.
I think
Apologies, I muted myself. So I didn't cough or anything. The wet cough, not a dry cough. Don't worry. And so I got two questions for you to follow up on. The first is that I think back to week one of this. What was that? Monday, the 15th of March. Mm-hmm. My calendar was just shot at that point. And it's taken me weeks to recover. Did you suffer from that same affliction? And how did you get back to your discipline there? And number two, when you started time blocking your day, if you can remember that, how specific did you really get in the beginning? Were you one that just had some big time block, 3 big time blocks from the day, and it was kind of like lead gen, lead follow-up, and appointments? Or were you like some of these people that go and they time block, like when they're going to go get a drink of water, put lunch in? I don't have to worry about putting lunch as a time block. I'm going to figure out a way to eat. Yeah. As you can tell by my waist. But, tell us about that, because I think we say time blocks and we know what we mean. We're all using the same nomenclature, but we don't really know how to implement.
So it's something that I have to work. Yes. To the first question, yes, I absolutely had that at the beginning because it was a lot of figuring out. Yet my lead generation did not stop. And so if it took me longer, I quickly realized it was going to take me sometimes longer. And then it was meetings and calls and Zooms, and we're trying to figure this out. After the end of week one, I knew right then that I was going to have a problem with getting my most important things done. There were too many commitments between offices and other companies and stuff. And I was like, wow, I'm starting to get sucked into 80% stuff real quick. Like, you're getting ready to get ready, right? We're doing all those activities. We're getting ready to get ready to do what? And you probably can't see them, but it's up on the bookshelf, the top right. That's my journals. And I have my journals there from 2010. And so one of the first things I did was go back to some of those early journals. And I remember the pain of what it was like in 2008 and 2009 and trying to figure it out. And I remember I have notes in there how many people I had to talk to. And so I could keep getting ready to get ready, or I could spring into action. And I think that was very important. So that third week of March, it was it. I did nothing else in the morning. There was nothing more important than me starting to do my lead generation. And so I like to framework, to follow up with your second part of your question. I always blocks my time like as such. I protected my time that I worked on my 411, and that was typically Monday mornings. I would spend the first hour planning out my week, and I still do that to this day, but I do it on Sunday night more now because I have to turn it in by 7 a.m. on Monday. And so, but I would spend that time. I would do lead gen, and I firmly believe this. Prospecting for new business and following up leads from previously leads generated is a different game. I think that a lot of agents, and I don't think, I know, a lot of agents this is where they mess up. They get the two confused and they lump it all together to start, and it's kind of sets people up for failure because here's what happens. I have a lady, and I'm looking at her, and I pulled it up for this meeting in my CRM, okay, my contact relationship manager for anyone who's new. I use a $35 software. My team uses an $1,800 a month software. I have never moved from my $35 a month top producer software. I am transitioning to Command from it, but I have my notes here where I spoke to this lady. I got the lead in 2013. I will be listing her house next month. I have spoken to her for 7 years. And what I think that was important about that is, are you committed? 75% of the success in this business is long-term follow-up. Where agents struggle the most is long-term follow-up. So on the surface, if we just drowned out the noise and go, okay, who do we have that is currently an A buyer, B buyer, A seller, B seller, and who is longer? And then know that your job is to follow up with them. Your job is to be in the way of good things to come when they make the decision to buy or sell some real estate. We have allowed technology to disassemble what real estate agents should be doing, and that's building relationships. And we've become really, really complacent. I think we do a very poor job of being lead receivers versus lead generators. And, you know, our enemy in this game is not other real estate agents. It's technology, it's tools, it's to eliminate parts of our job, and we allow it, and we just we take the ride. We're going along with it. I'm very passionate about real estate agents doing their job, and if we have enough time on this call today, I'd be happy to run through an exercise. It does take a little while, but I'd like to demonstrate that 7 years. My theory is this: if you have come into register my website, you refer to me by a friend or family or another real estate agent, that my job is to stay in touch with you until you're ready to make a decision. I firmly believe they're going to be in better hands working with me than anyone else in our community. And it is about them. It's not about me. It's always about them. And so that first big block of my day was broken down. I'm going to prospect for new business. Then I'm going to follow up on the rest of the leads. If you have nothing else to do, you have no other appointments, there is no reason in the world where you can't do this all day. And I know that seems excessive, but that's the way. I mean, when I was in the beginning, you know, I was waiting tables and I moved into real estate. I remember vividly, and we have some people in my market center there when I came. They said, you would walk into this office and you would not walk out the door until you had an appointment. I worked in the office from 8 to 3, and then I waited tables from 4 to midnight, 5 days a week. I worked weekends. I went 6 months without a day off. And, you know, I'm not in a place in my life where I could pull that level of commitment again, obviously. But, or my wife would disown me. But I wanted it. I wanted it really bad. And so it was just, there's a level of sacrifice. And, you know, I found a level of success. And then I had to go back to that level of work almost in that shift, because it wasn't coming in, or I was going on appointments and sitting down with people at their kitchen table, and I'm showing them their seller's net sheet. And I'm like, well, you see here, we can sell your home, and I expect you to be writing a $10,000 check, right? And so there's only so many of those that can actually do that. And so I had to go on more appointments to be able to secure more contracts that I could sell. And so it was just, I had to be really diligent about my time and the appointments. And so he who masters the appointment wins this. He who masters the appointment wins this game. And I know that it is our job is to get in front of people. Real estate is a contact sport. I'll give you an example. On the far end of the spectrum, Jeffrey, if you spoke to 1,000 people with just a few minor scripts or just calling to check in, if you spoke to 1,000 people about real estate, do you think that you would have 0 appointments?
No.
Right. And okay, that's the far end, one spectrum, right? So let's go to the other end. Do you think you're going to sell 20 homes by talking to 20 people?
No.
Right. And so the answer is that it lies somewhere in between. And the truth is the matter is this, and I've been tracking numbers for many years. If somewhere
in between 100% conversion and 0% conversion.
Yeah. And so the average agent, and this is not going to be what people want to hear, the average agent for every 100 conversation goes on 2 appointments. The average. You may have a better skill set. The struggle with people who have really good skill set is they tend to do less. They want to do less of the work over time. But, and so for every 100 conversations, my team average over the last, since 2015, has been 3.5%. My personal average is around 4. We have some that are lower. And our goal is to get them closer to the team average. And there's a lot of power in knowing that number. There really is a lot of power. And it's like, oh, well, if someone has been in the business for this long, and this is straight prospecting, this isn't answering leads. But if we're talking, leading with revenue and creating income and really being profitable, do we need to do anything else? We're so quick to open our credit cards and our wallets to these lead generation websites, and we don't want to go out and do the work. Real estate's cleverly disguised as work. It is. Is there a way I could share my screen?
There sure is.
Would it be okay if I showed y'all just a snapshot of, let me get on.
We are in your hands for the next 40 minutes or as long as you'll have us. So you can drive this train, Tim.
Well, I think this would be, I wouldn't share this with people outside of the region. I think it's relevant, but I think y'all are so close that it really can hit home. I'm going to pull up my spreadsheet from last year and share it with you right now, if that'd be okay. And you can go back and review this. And let me show you my trends from last year. Okay, I'm going to go hit present now. You ready for this? All right, it is going to be this window. All right, so
here it comes.
All right, so this is. Can everyone see that?
Ooh, it's really small, but yeah, we can. The screen's up.
Let me see if I can blow this up for you a little bit. Well, I have no idea how to do that. Well, what I want to show y'all here.
Bottom, that's Excel online. Let's see.
Okay.
In view, I think you can zoom in a little bit, maybe.
Let's see. Editing view. Yeah.
Maybe not.
Let's see. Anyway, let me just show you all this number right here. Okay, so our contact appointment set ratio. You see in January we had 6.5%. We hit the year off with a good bang. We were hitting. It's a new year. Everybody's excited about real estate, right? We're making the calls. 6.5% of our contacts resulted in an appointment. Whether we set 35 appointments, we held 28 of those, and we set 83 buyer appointments and held 54 of those. Can y'all see that?
Kind of. We can't really see the numbers, but yeah. I mean,
let me see if I can't blow it up. It's not allowing me.
That's okay.
But the number here, and I'll just keep moving on a cursor here as you go back and later on and watch this. The number says 3.7. And so we spoke to 27,050 people, and 3.7% of that resulted in an appointment. And so I'm going to stop presenting because it's too small for y'all. And so we spoke to 27,000 people, 3.7% resulted in an appointment. That is the level of work that it takes to sell a lot of houses. And I don't know the makeup of who's on this call, but I like to speak to individual agents more than teams
That's
because
what you got.
it's easier for me to relate to. I'm still a real estate agent. I know that I come in here and I still do the same thing. I log into a daily huddle, I log into my system, and my dashboard tells me who to call. And I can explain. I'm going to present one more time. This won't be small, I promise. But let me see here. So everyone should be able to see this one.
Yep.
This is on page 137 of the MREA. And so if people always ask, like, Tim, who do you call? Well, I like to break this down. And so this is the general public. So if I'm in a store, right, haven't met, this is a general public, I'm wearing my name tag and someone's like, oh, you're in real estate. Yeah, I am. Why do you ask? And, we go down that rabbit hole. I get their business card and I slide them into my Met group here. I've met them. And perhaps we forge a relationship. I'm going to call them once a week, maybe send them an email, write them a handwritten note. At the end of 2 months, I'm either have established some sort of relationship with them or have not. And if I have, they'll go on a 33 touch. If not, perhaps they'll stay on a quarterly call. Okay. My allied resources, and I put a lot of time into this circle right here. This is people in your database. That is your lender. This is your title company. This is your home inspector. This is also people, and this is how I like to explain the circle. This is also people that can refer you business. Your core advocates, people whom I have a nurse that sends me probably 3 deals a year and has. And the interesting part is I've never worked with him. Never worked with him. We've got a lot of mutual friends. He believes in what we do somehow, some way. And he is an allied resource for me. He is one of my VIPs. They get a better Christmas gift. I spend time nurturing that relationship. He's on you see here, 33 touch. We'll just use that number for today's call. Our organization is actually a 36, but for 33. So what does that look like? Well, that's a monthly mailer. That's a quarterly call. That's a monthly newsletter, a quarterly client event, birthday card, and it's made up of all this stuff. And so with enough people in your database on 33 touches, 8x8s, or some sort of other drip plan, 12 direct, this makes up the core of what my database tells me to do. I'm not overthinking that. I walk in, I hit some buttons, and I do what it tells me to do. If you come in and you're trying to figure out who you're calling every day, you're kind of doing it wrong. Kudos for trying. That's it. There is a better way, and it's through the systems and models that are built into the Millionaire Real Estate Agent. It's where you may have to chase a lead a little bit more. You may have to reach out to them every day or every other day, and I teach that my A buyers and A sellers need to get a call every Monday and Thursday. Everyone else, if it's a B buyer seller, and they're going to get a call once a week or 2 weeks, depending. If you're a seller, sometimes we know it's going to take them 2 months to get their house ready. You don't need to call them every single week, but you definitely need to call and check in on them every few weeks to check in and let them know you're there, because what will happen is the neighbor's like, oh, well, you didn't tell me you're selling your house. My son's a real estate agent. You should chat with him. He'll give you a better rate. I mean, they're shopping on Zillow and they're just curious one night and they're like, I'm just curious what my home value is worth. They get a call from a Zillow agent. Now your lead went bye-bye. And so the point of that conversation is it's still about the relationship. It's still about the follow-up. Because you have them on the hook doesn't mean they're on the hook. We had a for sale by owner the other day, inked, ready to go, was signing that night, and neighbor said they knew somebody wanted to buy the house. $550,000 listing, not getting signed, and it was, so those things are happening, man. People are on the internet. They're getting communicated with. And so I just always go back to how much value have we brought? How much, how good is that relationship? Do they feel that they're in the best hands of their life working with you versus someone else? If they don't, there's an opportunity for you to lose it. and we need to be doing our job and just staying in front of people. There's a profound statement that I heard, and I didn't come up with this. It's that right now we're in a time of physical distancing, not social distancing. Social distancing will get you in trouble. Social distancing, we should be more social than we ever have before. What else do you have to do?
I like that.
I really like it. That came from Abe Shreve and was on a call with the Chicago region a few weeks ago, and I heard it and I was like, ugh, something so simple yet so profound. It's time to be social. And right now sales talk is almost repelling to people. They want to know, they want information, they want your take, they want to hear your spin. What's happening? They love numbers, they love data. And so you need to be it was always in the MREA, the local economist of choice. And so people forget about that too. And it's like, that's people are willing to work with an expert. You should position yourself in the eyes of your buyers and sellers and sphere that you are the local real estate expert. So
that's great. So, I think there's this internal, I'm sure you're on some of these command Facebook groups and some different lab coat agents and different things. And I feel like a fight that has been brewing for a long time with agents. It's not necessarily a fight in our market center, but it's a conversation. And it's that, Jeffrey, I don't need to be on command. I don't need to do this tech stuff. I'm all about the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And then if I am in the right place, I'll say, well, tell me what you do to cultivate that relationship. And I guarantee you, they're not calling A buyers Mondays and Thursdays like you are. What do you think is so if you're telling me that relationship is your game, what are the most important things we can be doing? What are some actionable things that we can put in our day to make sure that we are cultivating that relationship?
Utilize technology. No. Listen,
that's to help you remember to call them, I guess, is what you mean there.
And that's the thing. If you walk in and go, I'm gonna remember every relationship, you're not. No one's that smart to sell the amount of homes that you may want to sell and remember every single person. I mean, I know a lady, and she's just amazing real estate agent, another brokerage, and still selling a ton of real estate by herself. She's got a Rolodex. And it's got a Rolodex. It's got all our people in there. It's got our information. It's got their cards. Gary in the Box started with an 8x8. It's a bunch of cards. That is a system. And so maybe you don't utilize technology, but you need to utilize a system. And it can be very simple. It just has to be, you have to be able to replicate it. You have to be able to follow something. My $35 a month top producer tells me who to call. Now, I am building a relationship. I am working with them. I am doing it. I am not thinking of it. The system is just telling me who to call. And so utilize a system. That's what you do. Utilize a system so you can be your best self. And people think that I remember every birthday. They think that they feel like I remember every birthday because I write them a handwritten note on their birthday. I write a handwritten for everybody's birthday in my database. I got a stack of cards. It's almost embarrassing today, but was out of stamps. I couldn't get any more. But I write the notes. I just do what it tells me to do, but it's telling me to show up. I show up as me because the system tells me so. And so don't get caught up in technology. You just need to know that it needs to be a system. Whatever, it could be an Excel spreadsheet, could be command, could be something else, top producer, could be a card box. I had an agent 2 years ago who built a card box because he just thought it was easier for him. Whatever works. And that's always been, they're building command under the principle that they want to build it to work for you. Is it perfect? No, not yet. I don't think it'll be a work in progress for a long time, but I'm transitioning out of it from my top producer that I've had since October of 2008, which is the same year that I bought the Red Book. I got those two tools for combined about $45 that year that have literally for me launched a very successful real estate career. So it can be simple. It just needs to be something that you don't have to think about. Like, make people feel special, but let a system tell you how to do it. That's all.
And for those of you who were not who don't know what Gary in a box was, that was Gary Keller's kind of CRM when he first started in the late 70s, early 80s, when he literally had 2 card boxes. One had ABCD dividers, one had months of the year, and he would write the same name on 2 cards. And on one card, he wrote their contact info, and on one card, he wrote like info about them. And depending on what he talked about on the call, he would then put your card either 90 days, in 3 months from now, in the next month, or, he'd write all kinds of things. He'd put your birthday on there. It was very imperfect. And I think what I'm hearing from you, Tim, is an imperfect system or a low-tech system is fine. Just have a system. Quit winging it, though.
Yeah. You can't wing it. You can't wing it and be consistent. If you want consistent money, you'll do consistent behavior. Plain and simple. You want consistent money, you'll do consistent behavior.
Consistency might be the hardest of all the things we do. Consistency. Yeah. And I guess I'd ask you, I think Adam, and you can chime in on this, the thing we see the most is that a solo agent gets some success. And, they go a real hungry January, and then somehow they get 3 deals under contract and they're all excited about them, and they just squeeze those deals as tight as they can, and by the skin on their teeth, usually get them through. And then April, May comes around, and they're back to having 0 deals in their pipeline. Mm-hmm. They look up, they close the last one, they look up and they go, what do I do now? And they're back where they were in January. They paid bills, right? They paid the bills that they hadn't been paying from not having money for a few months, but they're constantly back where they started. What can we do to not be in that position?
Show up Monday through Friday, 8 to 11. I'm a very...
Well, they're showing up, but they're dealing with inspection reports and final walkthroughs and all these very important things.
Kudos for showing up, but, lead generation is the most important thing that we do. And I speak about it all the time to my team. We still have some struggles, with that, is that what we do today, we're in an instant gratification society doing a job that isn't instant gratification for the majority of the time. So what we're doing today shows up 60, 90 days later, maybe 120 with this stuff going on. And so right now, March was an amazing month. January was an amazing January. February, April will be okay. May right now is not too fantastic. And I look back at what happened, and I think it was the distractions at the beginning of COVID that we knew it was coming. It was a lot of June right now is already looking better than April and May combined. Meaning we're already putting stuff under that's lined up for June. It's already a better month. We had the distractions out of the way. And so it's hard to go, I'll work really hard today for something 90 days from now. And it's just something that you have to know that, but success leaves clues. If you look at successful agents and look at any charts, if you had the numbers that I had, you would look at it and go, oh, well, this is absolutely true. And so it's easy to look at a spreadsheet for the last 8 years and go, if we do this, and I can show people, there's a lot of comfort with that. And so I'm big on tracking numbers, and I know it's real estate agents' least favorite topic. And so I just have a lot of faith in that. After tracking numbers for so long, it's a truthism to me, and my team knows it. And so it's just hard. I understand. I do get that. You're like, I'm going to work really hard. And look, I may go 2 weeks. I think it might have been the longest I went without an appointment. Setting appointments, just hammering the phones. And I'm like, face to face, I'm like, God, do I suck? Am I really bad at this all of a sudden? And I remember, and this was last year actually, and I set 6 appointments one morning. And, I was like, oh, and knowing that it was a buildup, it was coming. It was that I was getting in the way of good things to happen by making those calls. I don't always want to, but I do it. I still to this day have the second highest contacts on this team. And I can assure you that I have the busiest schedule, busiest life, most things to do. I attend more classes, go to more training, yet I consistently do the contacts. And just when you built a business, when when you built a business in a shift, it just becomes internal. And so I really feel like we have an opportunity right now for people to dig in, take some market share, and really realize that right now is time when people need us more than ever. I can tell you in the shift of 2008, 9, 10, all that era, people valued real estate advice more than they had in the years prior to that. And they were willing to pay me more for that advice. And that if you get struggled with discount commissions and things like that, people want to cut fees. People are willing to pay more money in a down market because they feel like they need you a little bit more. And, with Keller Williams, what we have to offer in terms of culture and systems and, I just think it's unparalleled. And so I just ask that everyone dig in a little bit more and, do the activities and take our unfair share.
Hey, Tim, this is Adam.
Profession. Go
I have
ahead.
a question. You're talking about lead generation and doing calls, and of course, there's a million different things you can do to generate leads. I think there's a small list of them on page 138 of MREA. But I've dealt with some people who said, "Oh, well, I closed a $550,000 deal from somebody I met on Bumble. So is Bumble a lead generation source now?" And then other people who are getting leads from sources that they're not counting. I was working with one agent who was like, well, I never really considered Reddit to be a lead source, but I'm actually getting leads from it. So how do you say, well, yes, Bumble is a lead source, or no, it's not, or Reddit is a lead source? How do I quantify it? And then how do you make it replicatable?
I would say you have to come to terms in your own definition of what a conversation is. So in my world, a conversation is a two-way conversation via phone or face-to-face. I very rarely count texting or Facebook in an exchange unless someone's at work, we're dialoguing about something and there's with substance behind that, meaning, hey, man, yeah, it's been great catching up. Let's meet. Let's talk about some real estate over lunch next week. I would consider that a conversation about real estate. I'll consider it an appointment set. Okay. And so, you can choose where you want your lead generation to be, but I would say 50% of it you need to be in some phone calls and face-to-face. Right now, it's hard to be face-to-face. I would consider phone calls the most important thing that we can do because you can't build that connectivity. The other part can be, I know a lot of people that use social media. Yeah, I saw someone caught one off a Tinder recently on my team, and I just had to laugh, but it's a lead generation source. And I mean, there's no set rules of where that can be. I seen someone, want to know if I'd share the exercise. Were y'all?
Yeah, I was gonna ask you if we had time.
Yeah, we got time. Okay, cool. Who is and Jeff and you guys, y'all know who is on this call that is new to? Is there anyone on this call that's new to New Orleans?
New to New Orleans. Let's see. You got a lot of red-blooded New Orleanians on here. I don't know, man. I'm not seeing one person.
I mean, I've been here a year. Does that count?
Oh, Adam would be the newest one.
Adam, what's your position?
A productivity coach.
All right. Well, since no one else is new, can we use you as an example? Would you mind doing that with you?
I'll volunteer as tribute.
Okay. Do you mind being a little bit vulnerable today?
Yeah, sounds like fun. I think it's been a while since everybody's seen me cry.
I'm just kidding.
At least 3 days.
Yeah.
What I am going to ask is, I see Lori here, Dorothy, Margaret, Therese, and Patrick. This is the first names on my screen. What I like is a little participation. So if you've got somewhere silent, feel free, please pitch in. I usually travel and I'm teaching this class, and it's usually the last thing that I do. It won't be as impactful as when I do it in person, but you will get the point. Okay. So Adam, welcome. You're beginning your real estate career here in New Orleans. This is the only job that you can have to feed yourself, your family, and whatever. Take care of yourself and build a life. And you don't have a budget. You really don't have much of a budget. Like most people move into a new city, probably didn't have thousands to pour in, right?
Yeah.
So I'd like to, with everyone's help, figure out how we're going to build your real estate career. And so let's start off with some things that we can do. And I'm looking for some pen and paper. What are some things that we can do you can get out and start generating some real estate sales?
Well, I guess I could network, go out there and talk to people.
Like what? Give me some examples.
Well, I like to go to the pub on Fridays and hang out with friends there, and then meet new people.
Building relationships.
Yeah.
That's it. Okay. Very cool. What else?
And then I don't really know. I guess I could call for sale by owners. I've read that that's a good thing to do.
Yeah, that's a pretty good thing to do. So if I move my head, you can see that big list behind me.
Mm-hmm.
That's the list that's one of the lists from the last time I did this exercise. So I usually get 40 to 50. So we got a ways to go. I won't hold it up that long, but I do want some other ideas. Margaret, anybody? Let's pitch in. Who's got some ideas?
Those are all good ideas.
All right, just throw your items in chat, everybody. They'll pop up and we'll get them on. Next door.
Next door, really good one, actually. That one gets omitted often. Next door is great.
Circle dial.
Circle dialing, yes.
Database. Direct mail. Expireds. FSBOs. Facebook ads.
Yep, you can run some Facebook ads. Command, I'm averaging 26 cents a click right now on command ads. But go on.
Grasshopper Adam has you beat at 11 cents on his last campaign.
Open houses, yes, Holden. That's open houses for sure. You're the new guy in town, right? You can say, hey, I'm gonna target an area. Who in the office has got listings in there that I can go hold open? And by the way, use their money to put them in the paper, right? Farming, yep. Twitter does work. If you pay attention to hashtags and responses and engagement, Twitter does work. I've seen people have some really good success with it, but they're really social. They're really tied in. So whoever put Zillow, take that down.
Well, wait. Can you talk to that? This is a hard conversation because there's people that walk in the office saying with their credit card, hot, ready to roll, saying, I'm ready to sign a $4,000, $8,000, $12,000 commitment with Zillow right now.
Bustin' Chaz. Yeah, so I did Zillow for years. I started Zillow. I could have all of 70810 for $400. I had X amount and I left them March of last year and had the best year that I ever had. And it was a change for my business, but we got really good at other stuff. In the absence of one thing, you'll start to focus your energy elsewhere. And it's that energy that we need that has a higher ROI than the $4,000. So your business, Adam, call people you know from your hometown and connect them with agents in the area for referrals. Yes, 100%. A buyer class. What about, does everybody, I'm going to throw a couple things in there. What about like divorce attorney?
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, you could look at divorce.
Session attorneys.
Yep.
I guess also if you're looking up divorces, you could look up short sales and see who's been, like, where listings have been filed.
Yeah. No doubt. No doubt. What about garage sales? What do we see usually following a garage sale?
Yeah. I guess if they're going to be selling all their stuff and cleaning up their house, they're going to be selling it soon.
I know we got to pay attention to those. I taught this class, and I teach a class on how to beat Zillow. And guys, this is a whole different class, but we do this exercise at the end, and I was teaching in Tampa, and this lady gave me this amazing example. Her number one referral source was garage sales. She had a lady who loved garage sales, was at them all the time. She was always like, go in. She's like, oh, you need to call this lady. She's going to sell her house. She paid for the lady to get her real estate license. And the lady was sending her, it was something insane. Like she got like 10 to 13 deals a year from it. I mean, it was something of a high level of thing. These are the things as real estate agents we need to be doing to get in front of the competition, getting ahead of Zillow. Like, let's be that connector. There's so much opportunity out there. It's crazy. I paid for my hairdresser to cut my hair, that cuts my hair. He used to send me referrals. I paid for him to get his license. He was always one of my top referral sources because he's got a captive audience all day, every day. Mm-hmm. Who talks to people? Hairstylists. Yeah. They're people, right? They're talking all day. Get outside the box. So what else? Want to hear some other ideas from people in the group? Because this is your business, Adam. This is your business we're building.
Yeah. Margaret, did you have an idea? I saw that you were unmuted for a second.
Oh.
Oh. Expireds.
Yep. Expired.
I'm curious.
Go ahead, Therese.
I'm curious, what would the dialogue sound like approaching garage sales?
So one, I think you have to have a general interest in garage sales, right? I think if you show up and just were lurking around, it could be lower. But like if you know stuff, right? You know prices and you're just talking to people, I think that it's very organic. I think that you're having a conversation and, oh, well, you know, are you guys moving? Or, you know, why are you selling stuff? I mean, it could be something very organic. And I think that David is, and the lady that was sending this lady all the referrals, she was just like, oh my God, you've got to call my friend. Like, cause she's digging through stuff. She knows garage sale stuff. She knows prices. She knows goods. She's like, oh, I went to one around the corner. Like your neighbors had one. And so like, she's having very organic, natural conversations and referring the lady, like, you have got to call my friend. She's this huge advocate. It results in a lot of sales. And so the lady says she goes sometimes too, but it's all very organic stuff. It has to be relationship building. You know, not so you walk in and just, you have to be committed to building a relationship more than just getting the sale. And that can be long term. But again, you need to be in front of that person when they make that decision.
So you kind of built by sending your, you know, hairstylist to real estate school, you kind of built your own referral network.
Oh yeah, no doubt. We still do a lot of business. Yeah.
Wow. How many people have you done that with?
4.
Wow.
And it's paid dividends. Paid dividends.
So interesting.
But you have to know when to make an investment in someone, and if you believe in them, and you know, it usually works out. Human resources, yes. Tasha, I see your comment. Yep, that's good. HR companies is huge. How many? You know, I mean, Adam, are you going to go into some HR companies? Are you going to send them emails? Are you going to make it committed to call one HR company a week? Once every 2 weeks, make some connections, do a presentation.
Okay.
But here's the thing, y'all. There's a long list behind me. Rotary, BNI, you know, different groups, churches, schools, PTI groups, sports, gyms. There's all this stuff. The whole point of this is how many of those are lead receiving sources?
I don't know.
0. They're not lead receiving. They're all lead generating. This is all the things that real estate agents should be doing, could be doing, would be doing if the internet or before the internet existed. This is the stuff that real estate agents did. Everybody knew the real estate agent in town. They were the most popular person, sometimes not. They had their niches. There's only people that want to sell certain style of homes. Do that. Do what works for you. But the whole point of that exercise is, look, there's a big list behind me. There's a whole wide world and a way to get out and generate real estate sales that we're not doing. We're sitting on our rears, waiting for someone to come through us through social media. We're not doing the work and expecting greater results. It's not going to happen. It's just not. I mean, I believe in effort. I believe in creativity. I believe in that we should be the person that has a relationship. And so the whole thing is technology has kind of diminished the things that real estate agents used to be doing. Excuse me. It's not COVID. I've been talking all day. And so, Adam, the world is big. New Orleans has so many opportunities. There's so many unique parts of the city and ways to get out and build relationships. It's a people town. And if you're out building those relationships, your business will grow exponentially. So I call it the relocation exercise. And I challenge anyone who's heard any of these or seen that list that don't pick all of them, pick a couple, get out there and start being social and building relationships, show value. I think it's just paramount. And I think it's a huge opportunity for us to get out there and again, take market share and not let go of it.
So Tim, if I wanted to say that, hey, one of my lead generation sources is I'm going to stand in front of Rouse's and hand out a business card to everybody who will take one. How long do I do that without noticing results before I say, maybe I should probably change my plan and stand in front of Winn-Dixie instead?
90 days.
Okay.
Anything 60 to 90 days. At the end of the day, if you're doing non-paid sources, you should see results in that quick of a time. Farming a neighborhood, minimum 6 to 9 month return. And so we're so quick to spend money and we're so slow to get out and take action. And that's one of the, the MRA, the things that, mega agents do is they take action. Think bold, they take action. And so it can be anything. We can be creative with this. You can make your business your own business. And if 9 to 11 doesn't work for you for prospecting, is it 1 to 4? Is it 1 to 3, 1 to 4? Whatever it is, make sure that it's happening all the time. Make sure that it's happening in a consistent manner. You want consistent money? Do consistent behavior. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
So if I wanted to do like a direct mailer to my farming area, I sent out one and nobody called me. So I guess, do I just wait 6 months or do I just stop doing direct mail?
You flush that money down the drain.
Well, I sent out one though.
Yeah, one's not enough. You got to commit for 6 months.
Oh, okay. So I have to be committed and do it over and over.
Yep. There's consistency. It's with mail. It takes a lot of time. The marketing message should look the same. The card should look the same. The design, the font, the colors. They should know all the time when they're receiving your mail that this is coming from Adam. Oh, this is Adam's mail. This is Adam's mailer. It's planting the seed. It's being then we're fighting for the battle of mind share.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing here. That's what all this work is for. If everyone had an unlimited budget, it would be a whole lot easier, right? And we don't. Including myself.
Regarding farming, I have a question. Is there another way to skin the cat on that as far as farming, maybe not doing direct mail, something more cost effective, more that would bring you closer to the deal or to getting, where you want to go?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question. I feel that using technology, we can. I have an idea that I'm going to share with you that we have not implemented, and I think you can start farming the backwards way. And so it takes a little work, but you would have to start to build. Let's say you pick a subdivision, and we're going to call it, I don't know, let's just say Midtown. Okay, say you're going to focus on Midtown, and you're going to go get build a website. You can build one cheap, for Midtown. Have a URL. You could probably get that done you could build that through GoDaddy very cheap. You could also build at the same time. These don't exist in isolation of each other, and they're in the same plane. Create a Facebook group, right? You could get them next door in that group, right? So what we're doing here is we're creating a community. Now you're going to have to take work to foster that community. Start sharing things, posting things, getting people, inviting people. This is the work part of it, right? Get it built up, get it to so many people where you're doing your networking, you're communicating at that local level, and here and there you sprinkle with a little real estate, right? I would challenge that you work on this method, and this is something I haven't put on the paper yet, but I think that if you did this for long enough, that you would generate a sale. Okay, if you were just sharing things and posting and being of value, and like, hey, there's a garage sale coming up for anybody who doesn't know, or if you want to set at the entrance and hand out donuts one day to the neighborhood as everybody's leaving because whatever, you're Miss Midtown, and I'm completely making up something. But through that, you're going to start generating some sales. It'll take work. It'll take time. You should be committed. When you get that money, take X amount of that money and then start to take a piece of that and then use that money to grow the next piece. Maybe now that you're saying, okay, there's 800 homes in here. I'm going to pick the west side and I'm going to mail the west side. This is going to cost me, $100, and I'm going to commit to this once every other week for the first few weeks, okay? And still doing your other items. And then your next sale, you invest a little bit more. And the next sale, you invest a little bit more. I think if you reverse engineer it that way, yes, you absolutely can. I think people are doing it. There's nothing, I don't think there's a system that I've seen in writing anywhere going, okay, I just believe that you can do what you're talking about doing. It just takes work. Most people aren't committed to the long-term work, but I know you can do it. I know you can do it. And I just think it comes from a place of consistency and creativity and a little bit of effort. What are you going to do to build relationships in that community? For people, since people are looking for genuine, they're also looking for experts. And if you're the go-to, I'll share something with you. During COVID, I moved to my neighborhood in August. I did join the next door and communicating in there. And I couldn't find a way for me to really start to forge a relationship in there at first. Well, when COVID came, I found a farm that's in Husser, Covey Rise, that supplies a lot of the restaurants in New Orleans with their produce. I have through my family, we have a relationship with them, and so I had them set up. They deliver to my neighborhood every Thursday, 1 to 3. And first week we did it to pretty good success. There was cars down the street, and they set up, they turn, and nobody has to get out of the car. People come get their pull up, get their fresh vegetables, flowers, strawberries, and they leave. Week 3, my wife's out there with me, and people are pulling up. Hey, Tim. Hey, Tim. Hey, Tim. Hey, Tim. And she's like, do you know them? I was like, I have no idea. And I was utilizing the next door for that. And so Thursday, I'll be there 1 to 3. I'm going to see a lot of people that I'm seeing every week. And so I'm enjoying this. I have no doubt that some business will come from that, but I'm doing something I really enjoy and bringing value to the neighborhood at the same time. And yeah, I talk to 20, 30, 40 people every Thursday sitting out front of my house with a beverage. And I'm calling it lead gen. And so, you don't have to be on the phone. You just have to find ways, and you have to find ways to talk to people. And all those conversations count. And I showed you all those numbers of 21,000 people we spoke to last year. There's a lot of work in that, and so
yeah,
it's so the long answer, yeah, you can do it any way you want.
And Tim, I heard you use a system. I mean, you kind of creatively came up with a system at the time, but you had a recurring, repetitive idea there that was not going to just be willy-nilly each time you do it. And I think we're so blessed today that we can go on Facebook in a group like Lab Coat Agents a lot of these huge groups with 10,000 plus realtors in there. And if you say, I'm thinking about doing this, please write below if you've done this before and what experiences you've had and what mistakes you wouldn't make again. You are going to really quickly want to delete your post because so many people are going to respond back.
I agree. And I also think that's the R&D department, right? Rip off and duplicate. Right. Our industry is fantastic. People don't care in another city if you take their idea and you're doing it. You can search for things. You can get creative, make it whatever. But you're right. There is a system behind it.
Others have lived before us. Be systematic. Be consistent.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm hoping that through that exercise, I exposed y'all to some ideas, and just saying that lead generation is vast. There's so much opportunity. We can really get out there and spend $0 and smoke it if we're willing to do the work. How committed are you? What do you want to do? What do you enjoy doing? I know I'll share something with y'all today. I'm not absolutely proud of. I've never called up a sub owner or expired in 14 years.
I said that's awesome. Why are you not
love
proud of it?
That's
I mean,
amazing.
You know, it's just hard to believe. I don't want to do it, so I don't. So
Yeah,
I double
I don't
down
blame
with
you.
things that I do enjoy. And so, you know, sometimes you don't know what you're going to like until you've done it, and I get that. I just know where my strengths are, and I focus on those, and I'm doing the things that I enjoy doing. Therese, who do you call for new business? I'm out. So the answer to that, it's I'm trying to make new relationships. So this past weekend, I did. I arranged a band to play in my neighborhood, and we had the neighborhood come down, and I met all kinds of people that I didn't know. Inevitably, someone is building a new house, and they're going to be selling. So I'm following up with him. I'm asking for business quite often. I call my past clients, and I asked the other day if they knew anyone who's going to be looking to sell or had any questions about what was going on during COVID. And she's like, you know, my old neighbor does. Called her. I have the appointment. This was yesterday. I set the appointment for 1 o'clock tomorrow. I'm growing my database. And so when I showed y'all the circle, page 137, you know, your allied resources, my allied resources now and my allied resources back in 2010 were different. Sometimes people come into our world and they're there for a while, and sometimes they leave, right? And maybe their wife got a real estate license, or they moved, or this, or I'm forming different relationships over here. It's never the same. You must feed it and you must weed it. And so I challenge everyone with the statement that your business is as good as the quality of your database. And it's so elementary and it's so not sexy. But if I were to take each of you, we were to sit down and look at our allied resources and grade it, I think the most successful agents will have the better core allied resources than other ones. And you'll have a stronger net group. I mean, and so on and so forth. And so when we get down to the microscopic level, and you start at the inside and work your way out, and you say, what do I need to go do? And you need to learn your people, learn your clients, learn what's important to them. And so when I'm teaching, I always give the example. If you have someone that says, hey, I'm looking for a home on a golf course. That's a good piece of information. But if you know the wife and you know that they want to live on a golf course, but you know the husband wants to live on a golf course, the wife's really more interested in living somewhere that's a quick drive to a daycare, and she doesn't want anything with a pool because she's got a real fear of her kids falling into the pool. I can assure you, you're not probably not looking for a house on a golf course, you know. And so the thing is, it's about, I think you have to ask really simple questions. I think we have to ask really powerful questions at the same time. We need to have clarity on what's going on in our people's world. And so your allied resources, you should know all of that kind of information about. Do you have their addresses? Do you have all their information? Are you that tied in with them that they feel the same way about you? And so it comes down to when I get to a place like we're at now and we're behind goal, the first place I went was to that circle. And I'm like, it's the last time we brought some value to my pool guy. When's the last time I brought some real value to my roofer? When's the last time and I'm going down a list, I think we've done a C- job this past 6 to 9 months in some of these categories. So I'm going back to the very beginning and starting to look how I can bring value to people. And when you're bringing value to people, people will bring it to you in return. And I just believe in that reciprocity. I believe in the law of reciprocity. It's a real thing. I don't know.
Well, Tim, you've definitely given us beyond the hour, and we really appreciate it. If there's one thing you want to leave us with. that you want to make sure you impress upon us before we leave, what would that be?
I think it's, if you've ever heard of how elephants behave, they grab the tail with the trunk, and I think there's a term out there called elephant leadership. And I think where we are in the world is that we're in a unique place where we have a vision of what the future was going to be. We have a vision of what it should be. And I think it's a time where we're all resetting, and we have to start to look at what's really important. And I think you have to ask some really powerful questions for yourself. What do you want to accomplish? What are you willing to do to accomplish it? And what are the most important things that you can do? And so movement is not achievement. And I think we just have to be very cognizant of that. And that's it. When you look up and what have you achieved, every day, ask yourself, what have you accomplished to achieve your goals? What have you done to help others achieve theirs? And look at it every day, and look at it every week, and look at it every month, and start to see what was the things that actually made some impressions. We feel like we're doing things. One last story, 2008, Hurricane Gustav, right? We lost power in Baton Rouge, and I was on a team, and we didn't have an assistant. We didn't have a CRM, and we were working real hard. And for the first 3 days, I felt like I was losing my mind. I was so busy. And after about 3 days, I started to realize I wasn't busy. I was doing busy work. And there's a difference. 2 weeks, without no power, you start to really get a 30,000-foot view of what the world was. And I share that to say I wasn't doing it properly at that time. And it was at that moment that I bought this particular book. This is the book. It goes everywhere with me. I bought that, and that's when I got my CRM. And I said, hey, I'm going to follow these systems. I'm going to do the things that matter the most, because at the end of the day, if I've had a really crappy day and I've come in and I've had a good day of lead gen and made some movement, if I want to call it, I've earned that right. But I've done the most important things of that day. So that's it.
Well, that was great. Tim, thank you so much. Many thanks, my friend. Appreciate being here with you, and look forward to seeing you at a regional event or, mega camp if we have that soon.
Yeah, I know. I'm really hoping it is. Thank y'all all so much. If there's any questions outside of here, I'm going to type it in real quick. Just that email, it goes to me and my director of operations. If there's anything I have that I can share, be of value with you, please use it. And of course, keep me in mind in the Baton Rouge area. I will aggravate your referrals to death. So,
all right, good to know. We'll keep that in mind.
KW or through our databases for referral partners.
Yes, absolutely. Please do.
Most of referrals to New Orleans come from Baton Rouge.
What's that?
I think according to the map, most of the referrals in New Orleans come from Baton Rouge. So we'll probably connect with you and send them to you instead of Clayton.
Oh God! Look at her hand. Yeah.
Nobody wants to deal with me anymore.
Oh man. No, it's y'all got any questions, email that email. Clayton's awesome. He's one of my favorite people. I miss that guy. We'll see you after this COVID, bro. But yeah, email admin at Tim Houk. Anything I have, my tools, my spreadsheets, my stuff. I've gotten so much of what I have from other agents. I never mind sharing. It's a big world out there, and I think there's a whole lot of opportunity. Let's go get it.
All right.
All right, man.
Everybody.
Thank you, Tim.